possible. Here we go. Baylor is only a 2.5-point underdog at home, which is really almost like being 5.5 or so. They're at home. TCU's rolling, have the it factor, have a lot to play for. Baylor maybe, who knows, maybe they got kicked in the, you know what, so badly they come back fighting like they did against Texas Tech up in Lubbock. We all have TCU.
I just don't. I just, like I said on the site, if you're a premium subscriber, I just don't know that I can peg this team week to week. TCU's been playing really well. They've owned the rivalry, so much to so that I'm not even sure Baylor thinks of it the same way that TCU does at this point because of how TCU has played so much better than them over several different iterations of Baylor coaches and teams for the most part in this rivalry. So, yeah, I'm picking TCU because Baylor hasn't given me any reason to think that they're going to be the team that knocks them off.
I think you've got that backwards. I don't think TCU thinks of this as much of a rivalry. I think it's Baylor that's still. I think TCU's just like, we just beat them every year, so why is this our rival? That's what I think, really. And I think part of the reason why we hover around 500 is because of the Big 12 alone. I mean, picking all those games every week, it's such a crapshoot that it'd be one thing if it's like Ohio State was on the schedule every week. It could be like, I'll be right 9 times out of 10 with them, but with the Big 12, it's any freaking guess, man, who's going to win any given game, basically. So, this one could very well have us all with eggs on our faces, and I don't care because I'm in the same boat of, like, I probably lost 4 or 5 games picking Baylor, or how many they lost? 3 games? I've lost 3.
Well, they've lost 4.
4, yeah, probably 3 of those I picked.
Brigham Young?
I picked Baylor, I think, yeah.
Iowa State.
I picked Iowa State.
I picked Baylor, I think, in
West
that one.
Virginia.
I definitely picked Baylor in that one.
Oklahoma State.
I think I picked Baylor in that one.
Yeah.
And then last week
Kansas State.
Yeah, last week. So, yeah, I mean, they alone have cost me at least 3 games and all of us at least 3 games. But yeah, TCU's proven it. Baylor has not. They don't show up week to week at the same clip. And TCU might do things a little bit differently week to week. Last week was more of a defensive effort, but they're steady and they're unbeaten. So, yeah, this is an easy pick for me.
I picked I picked TCU to win this game. You look at the running game. They got 2 guys. I know Baylor has a nice running game too, but you have 2 guys. They're almost like the same person. You have Quentin Johnston, who torched Baylor last year, and you have a quarterback that, again, he may throw one up or 2 as well. He can run. He can actually hurt you in the run game. Then on top of that, they have one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football in Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. Their defense just shut down a pretty prolific offense. So I don't know. That's why I said I think you have to get at least 2 or 3 turnovers, and maybe they do to have a chance. And then you also have to cover Darius Davis in the kick and punt return game, and that's not easy to do. West Virginia, K-State. I didn't even blink at this one.
No, K-State runs the ball too well. West Virginia doesn't stop the run. They don't really stop much at all on defense. Had a great game in the rain last week against Oklahoma, but I think this is not a good matchup for them.
Yeah, this would be a massive blown opportunity by K-State. They should win this game and not really have too much trouble doing it, just given all the stuff swirling around West Virginia right now. I mean, they beat Oklahoma, and they turn around, and there's like no celebration whatsoever. They fire their AD, and it's back to Neil Brown hot seat talk. So a little bit of, you got to be careful, K-State, walking into Morgantown. But if this game were in Manhattan, like, it would be a complete no-doubter. And even being in Morgantown, I don't have much, much hesitance in picking the Wildcats here.
I picked them as well. They looked so good against Oklahoma State and also against what they did against Baylor and had that TCU lead of 28-10. I can't get that out of my head. Also, they lost to UT, and speaking of which, UT is 13-2 all-time against Kansas. But they've also lost to Kansas in 2 times in the last 5 years. Lost in 2016. That was what got Charlie Strong basically fired, and then lost last year in that thriller in an unbelievable finish, 57-56. But I just feel like Kansas's defense gives up a lot. I'm going to go with Texas in this game.
I don't think that Texas will run the ball as poorly as they did last week, and that they will let those guys do it, because you don't want to – what Texas doesn't want to do here is get in a shootout with Kansas. They don't want to – I mean, let them, throw the ball back and forth and let them feel like get in a rhythm. I think you want to play a little keep away here. Use Bijan, use Roshan more than you have the last few weeks. Really ride that because don't give them confidence. Don't let them kind of play their game. Now, they could still win the game that way, but I think that you can maybe break KU's spirit, especially looking at the way that Texas Tech ran the ball against them last week.
I don't know if you can break their spirit. They're pretty damn resilient.
But the best way you can do it is keeping the ball away from them. And so I think that's what you got to do. I think you got to use those two studs you got. And maybe this is not Xavier Worthy week, and that's fine because you've got Robinson and Johnson back
I want to
there.
say something about Worthy, Craig. Xavier Worthy's numbers, he can beat you. He's like in a big clump of 9 touchdown catches while around the country. There's like 6 or 7 guys ahead of him. But they've thrown deep to him. He's hit him a couple of times, but the inaccuracy of Ewers deep to Worthy has hurt Texas. It is just not. Maybe he'll get 2 long ones this weekend.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, he's been very fine. Like the best way to polish up saying he's not average, but he's been fine. And yeah, I mean, 9 touchdowns on the year, but he's not going to scrape 1,000 unless he. 1,000 yards unless he has like just a mass, like he didn't need like 250 yards tomorrow and then do it again and then add some more in the bowl game. So yeah, it's been, from that standpoint, outside of the scores, a little bit of a letdown given how much, he performed last year and how much you thought that would catapult him. And then you had Ewers and like, oh my God, Ewers and Worthy is going to be crazy. And it's been whatever. But yeah, give me Texas here. I don't, I think if there's a weak spot, it's probably the Kansas defense. Jalen Daniels, I know it's been fun to speculate more about when he's coming back, but I don't think he's probably coming back tomorrow. I don't know that. It'd be a fun surprise if he was, but even still, Texas played really solidly on defense and has been getting better in that regard. I like them definitely better than KU's defense, and I think the UT offense will rebound a bit this week. So, yeah, give me Texas here.
Kansas gives up 167 yards per game, 93rd in the country rushing defense. So that would be an interesting stat there because Texas did not even move it at all against TCU. I take Texas as well. Now, this one here, I got to tell you, I changed it. Texas Tech's trying to play for a bowl game. Iowa State's trying to keep their hopes for a bowl game alive, and I took the Red Raiders, even though the game is in Ames.
I also did, only because Iowa State's just found ways to lose games that I think they're going to win. So I just don't have faith in them to close. But would it surprise me to see Texas Tech go on the road, a place they haven't played well this year, and lose this game? Nope. This is actually the one I'm most concerned about getting wrong.
Here's the thing is, like, I went back and forth on this one as well. You think, oh, well, Iowa State's not going to be able to keep up with Texas Tech potentially scoring. Like, Tech's going to score at least 21, 28 points, right? Well, not necessarily. Yeah. Like, they could very much score like 10 points tomorrow because Iowa State's defense is really good, and there's nothing that's like, oh, my gosh, how are they going to answer Sir Roderick Thompson? Or, oh, my God, how are they going to defend Tyler Shuck? I mean, like, all due respect to those guys and everybody on Tech's offense, they do have some weapons. There's nobody that just frightens you, especially if you're the Iowa State defense. I mean, they've seen, a lot of talented offenses already this year. So I think Iowa State's defense is going to bog this down. I do have a problem with the Iowa State offense and Hunter Deckers. I mean, he just turns it over and turns it over. They do it in the worst situations, like down in the red zone. It's happened multiple occasions, and I don't feel great about this pick. If this was in Lubbock, no doubt I would have picked Tech to win this game. It's in Ames. It's, getting towards the end of the year. It's getting cold outside. I think it's going to be like 30 degrees out there, if not worse than that. Defensive type of game in my mind, and give me the Cyclones just a slight edge, but yeah, a Red Raider victory wouldn't surprise me here because of Deckers throwing 3 more picks and them only being able to score 10 points versus Tech scoring 10 plus. I could see this either way.
Tech scores 32 points a game. Iowa State allows 16 points a game.
Yeah,
that's kind of there. I took Texas Tech. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. Now I took Oklahoma State earlier. I think Spencer Sanders is a lot closer to 100% than he was in the last 2 to 3 weeks. But it's Oklahoma. They have dominated this series. Didn't meet them last year. Remember, that was a huge game that knocked Oklahoma out of the national championship game, and that was in Stillwater. It was a unbelievable game. Probably will be another one. I just feel like Oklahoma's offense here still has the ability to score some points.
Yeah, this might be for me my pick that I heard this term one time about all the stuff you put in the recycling. Like most plastic doesn't get recycled. We don't really know what they do. So it's called wish cycling. This might be that for me, and that like I really would like to see, like part of me is curious to see a 5-6 Texas Tech team and a 5-6 Oklahoma team next week.
That would be fun.
And how that changes the game, that one of them will lose and not get there. So this might be me trying to manifest that a little bit too much. Oklahoma State is still, really banged up. I just think if Spencer Sanders plays, this game's going to get weird and interesting. And he played at the end of last week's game, so no reason to think that he won't play this week. So that's why, that's why
he's starting.
That's why I thought so. So. Or play better this week than it even played well in the last week's game. So
I'm pretty sure they've named him starter now. Like he's officially starting. And that was the idea coming out of last week with him showing up anyways, is that he was, I think Gundy said that even Tuesday that he was going to start. So that's official. And that made me doubt this a little bit. I really don't know with Oklahoma. And I feel like I know them probably as well as anybody, but this year it's been very hit or miss, and I do like their offense a bit more. I don't think Spencer Sanders, even if he's back, is going to be quite 100%. I guess that Oklahoma defense, he might not need to be, given what we've seen from that unit. But I got to think that, they rally the troops here, and if they can't win Bedlam this year after all the other losses they've taken, and you drop that game that you always typically win, that would really be something. For Brent Venables to have to deal with. But, he gets his first Bedlam win. I don't have a lot other than Oklahoma's typically won this game and a bit better offense. But
I took Oklahoma just because. I just feel like the fact that at home, even though if this was Oklahoma State a month ago, it's a completely different pick because it would have been Oklahoma a month ago too. Southern Cal, USC, on the road across town against UCLA. We all took the Trojans. If we're going to get to last week's game, we got to make this a little bit quicker here. I just feel like the Trojans have – I just feel like they're just a little bit better. And UCLA, of course, has been better than any of us could have thought. I'll take Caleb Williams to outduel UCLA counterpart.
DTR, great. We'll talk about it in the top 5 about this quarterback matchup. It's a great quarterback matchup. It's great that this rivalry actually means something again because, USC's been irrelevant for, a good long while. UCLA's been irrelevant for even longer. And so good to see these teams relevant and doing something meaningful again. Unfortunately for the Pac-12, it's not going to happen for them for too much longer, but I think USC just a little bit better.
Yeah, give me Caleb Williams over DTR, and give me that Trojans offense over whatever UCLA is going to roll out. I don't trust USC's defense, but in a shootout still, give me Caleb Williams and the Trojans.
I'll take USC. Now, in a game that is going to be a tweener, Utah on the road in Eugene, and the question, will Bo Nix play? I can't imagine he won't, but can he be as effective as he's been this year with Oregon?
I will never doubt Bo Nix again.
Okay.
I'm going to get him tattooed on my chest. No, Bo Nix. No, I'm not.
You're going to get Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah. But no, I do think, it does make me nervous, but if Bo Nix plays, he's a gamer, man. I've loved watching him play when I've gotten the chance this year. So that's why I'm leaning there. Cam Rising's been banged up, but Utah's still found a way to win. This should be a really, really, really fantastic game.
This is a track meet, even though Utah can score. If it gets into a track meet, that favors Oregon, you would think.
I don't know. I actually am leaning Utah here because of Tavion Thomas and the fact that he had one of his best games of the year last week. I think he had his best game of the year last week, to be exact. I was actually expecting a lot more of him, just how many numbers he put up last year, and I think he's been a bit banged up or whatnot. I don't know the exact story there, but I do know he exploded last week. We know Cam Rising's playing. We don't know if Bo Nix is playing. That played heavily into my decision as well. This one was tough to pick, but I don't know. I just feel like Utah and Tavion Thomas is going to be a bit too much.
Oregon started out, I think, as a field goal favorite, and now it's a 2-point favorite for Utah.
Because of Nix.
Yeah, because of the Bo Nix story. I took Utah, and again, that's why these games are fun, because you don't know. Now, Garrett, last week,